Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. Today is Tuesday, November 8th. I'm your host, John June. And of course, this guy to my left, that would be my guy, Greg Penniman, aka G Money. Greg, what's good,
Sir.
man?
Chilling, man. Chilling on this Tuesday. We're saying, we got all the games, so we can give a full week 9 preview here. No Monday night game to wait on. Yeah, well, it was a good week 9 for sure. Definitely a lot of exciting moments.
Yeah, and I'm sure you meant a week 9 review because I was like, we
Yeah,
did the
recap
week 9 preview already. Greg can't do it again.
preview.
But yeah, no, absolutely. We were talking before, like we may have done this one other time where we actually get to talk about all of the games that have happened or all the players that have played, and we're not sitting here like, like, oh well, this player might be, he's a wide receiver 1 right now, but Devontae Adams is mid game and he's climbing. Actually, we used to record a lot during Monday Night Football, so that did happen one time where like Devontae Adams was like the wide receiver 12 by the time by halftime, and we're still recording the episode.
That was probably the maybe the Kansas City one, or just when he was in Green Bay.
Just when he was in Green Bay, all those times, just Aaron Rodgers throwing him dimes, and it was just crazy because we, on this weekend, and we'll talk about it, but you know what? Let's just talk about football, man. Let's just get right into the games, right into the breakdowns. Obviously, starting with the quarterback Swags. And Greg, I almost don't want to play it for you because I said you should make him your start of the week, and you said, I don't know, it was close. But the quarterback won on the week, who was your stream of the week. That would be Sir Justin Fields. So let's play it. We'll play it. He was your streamer of the week for sure. Still think you should have made him your start of the week. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but I feel like you probably feel like you wish he was your start of the week too. But 17 of 28, 123 passing yards. It actually gets lost on me that he threw 3 touchdown passes in this game.
Yeah, because all the rushing yards. Oh my gosh.
My man went for $178 on 15 record. That is a quarterback record, breaking the record of Michael Vick. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna break a rushing quarterback record, I'm gonna assume it's either held by one or two people at this point, Mike Vick or Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Cam Newton too, because I think somebody did. I think somebody did. I think it was Lamar actually broke a Cam Newton rushing record for most consecutive seasons.
Got you.
Like whatever, I think the number was 500 rushing yards or something like that. But 42.7 fantasy points in your standard quarterback scoring formats. Greg, you saw something like this coming. What do you think of the performance by Justin Fields? And speak to it, my brother.
Yeah, man, this is definitely. I'm happy to see him taking this year 2 leap. I mean, honestly, Matt Nagy really held him back last year. Glad to see him get this performance. The rushing is there. It's very safe. I think you can count on it every week as a starter in this league, like a starter for fantasy. Yeah, he's money. I think he's definitely building a nice play for him and showing that Miami's defense is very attackable. Just saying how we can attack them all season. They've been in a lot of high scoring games this year as well. So yeah, Justin Fields, he could be a league winner for sure.
Yeah, I would say definitely could be a league winner because 2 reasons, right? Like where he was drafted did not cost significant capital. So even if you drafted him and you held him for this long, now you're really seeing the fruits of that. Because he was a guy, we talked about in the, leading up to in our quarterback episode. He's a guy that, he was he your breakout last year?
Last year,
you're a breakout quarterback.
I think it was your breakout last year.
No, I went with Lawrence. No, but my breakout was Jalen Hurts last year. Duh. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure when we got this year.
Yeah.
No, this year was Tua, but last
Oh
year I'm
yeah.
not sure it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, either way, we did talk about him in the quarterback episode, and we talked about. I know that he's somebody that I've been high on, and when the season started, I was like, everything was so bad. I was like, I'm out, right? Because
Yeah.
it was so bad. But I did say like a couple weeks ago, one of the lessons I did take from this season is when it comes to rushing quarterbacks, like it's a law of averages. Just because they're not rushing for yards in the first 4 games of the season, like doesn't mean that that's not what they're going to do. Because eventually, Justin Fields cares about one thing, and that's trying to win football games. And everyone involved in that club should care about that as well. And if you want to do that, you're going to do things like what they've been doing, which is really building this offense around Justin Fields and his skill set, even going as far as to like explicitly say, hey, yeah, we are taking some of Baltimore's plays. Like we're looking at Baltimore's film, we're trying to replicate some of the things that they do on offense. And to me, that is the ultimate sign of like Justin Fields has league winning upside at this stage of the game in fantasy. Hopefully you picked him up a couple weeks ago because we have been saying like, hey, this is picking up, it's coming. Pick him up. I actually have an interesting dilemma, Greg. I was sitting here fearful that I was gonna lose my matchup potentially. This was before some things happened, but going into Sunday Night Football, I was like, "Am I really gonna lose because Justin
Yeah.
Fields is sitting on my bench and I started Lamar Jackson? Is that the reason I'm gonna lose?" Ultimately, it didn't come to that, but I picked up Justin Fields 2 weeks ago with the knowing that Lamar Jackson was gonna be on bye this week, and that Fields has a matchup coming up against a Detroit defense that we've picked on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I consider myself lucky, but rest of season, I mean, Lamar is not, I mean, he's running, but we get garbage time with Justin Fields.
Yeah, all garbage. Yeah, garbage time. I mean, he's got the Lions next week. This week you said, then the Falcons, then the Jets, and then the Packers. So like, it's a nice little 4-week stretch for him.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't care who he plays. If he's gonna run
Yeah,
for
that's true. Because if he's gonna get blown out, he's gonna be running.
the books aren't
Yeah.
even putting out a rushing line for him anymore. They're not putting one out.
Oh man.
I went to FanDuel Sportsbook on Sunday morning. I'm like, where's this Justin Fields rushing line? I can't get one. They don't want to put it out. So I don't care who they play.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he's been a monster.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that touchdown run, the 61-yarder where he's in the pocket, takes off, does a pump fake where like he literally sets his sets his feet like he's gonna, or not even sets his feet, but like he switched his hips like he's actually gonna throw the ball, and he's like, nah, psych, and then just takes off and keeps running. And when he gets out there, like there's nobody that's gonna catch him.
Yeah, no, he has very
4.41
good
speed, like
breakaway speed. Yeah.
oh man, it's fantastic to watch. It's just
Yeah, and
great
he came in
because
as a prospect as a pocket passer too, which is the best part.
I mean, he's always had this. I mean, like he could like at Ohio State, they would do a lot of one read plays, so he could throw from the pocket, but he was at his best when in the open field. Like he's one of the most dynamic players in the open field. I know I had uh I had compared his draft process to that of like Deshaun Watson, because to me he was like
Mm.
why is he not talked about as the number one pick, right? Like I get it, Trevor Lawrence, the pedigree, things like that, but Justin Fields should easily have been in that conversation. I, I don't think that I don't think Zach Wilson is as bad as people make him out to be, right? Like I think it's the New York thing, the Jets thing. I still think Zach Wilson has a shot, but was not shy about saying I wanted Justin Fields as the number 2 pick. I was never shy about saying that. And frankly, you look at his skill set and how it fits with you look at the Jets, I wouldn't mind Justin Fields wearing green and white. So just gonna say that piece. But I'm just Greg, I've always been a Justin Fields fan. Like this has been, it was a dream of mine. Justin Fields throwing to Garrett
Yeah.
Wilson, but in the green and white. But yeah. Let's move on. The QB2 on the week. That would be Patrick Mahomes, a man who is who's not foreign to being talked about in this segment. 43 43 completions on 68 pass attempts. I think that was 4 shy of an NFL record for pass attempts. 446 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, added 6 rush attempts, led the team, by the way, 63 rushing yards, also led the team, and 1 rushing touchdown. Pretty sure that also led the team. 32.1 fantasy points in this game here, where he had to play comeback against the Tennessee Titans. And Greg, the Titans were up 14-0 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 14-3 or something like that.
14-3. I tried to go take
Yeah,
the Chiefs on the money line because I thought they'd be plus money. Nah, it was minus money.
they
So it was
know.
like almost
They're not getting.
better to take the Titans because they were plus 200 and they had an 11-point lead. So I didn't do it,
Crazy.
but yeah, crazy stuff. But Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, man, Patty doing Patty things. I mean, it's still weird that they ran so many plays and only got like 20 points, but definitely, good that he was able to get this performance fantasy wise. The rushing, man, talk about he's always it's not a sneaky rusher, but when he gets out in the pocket, like he can make really good plays out and with his legs. So yeah, definitely good performance from him.
Most definitely. I mean, not something that you often see is Patrick Mahomes in comeback mode. The Titans were playing really good defense against the Chiefs, and they were getting pressure on Mahomes, and they would constantly get him in these third down situations, and you would think like, okay, the Chiefs are going to convert here, but they wouldn't. So
Yeah.
yeah. So moving on, the quarterback 3 on the week, that would be Josh Allen. 18 of 34, 205 passing yards, no touchdown in through the air, 2 interceptions, added 9 rushing yards, 9 rush attempts, 86 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Good for 24.8 fantasy points. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Josh Allen?
Yeah, Mahomes, Josh Allen. You expect both those guys to be in the top 3 every week. Josh Allen doing what he has to do. He's the safest player on the team, on one of the safest players in fantasy. I expect him here every week for sure. Even win or loss, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, this was a bad game for Josh Allen in real life. A good game from a fantasy perspective.
Hmm.
He was obviously the Jets defense, they've been pretty good. This was probably their best performance when you consider who it was against. But Josh Allen, we don't care about matchups. We're going to play him. And early, it looked like he was going to be on for a day. He was on pace
Yeah,
for he had 83 rushing yards in like the first. I think it was the first half in the first half, and then went on to only have 86 the rest of the game. So you know, obviously the big story with Josh Allen right now is what's going on with that elbow. Suffered an injury on the third to last play of the game. So that's something that they're monitoring. He's going to be further evaluated. Sean McDermott said, it seems like he will be limited all week, and Josh Allen's probably going to push to play. But yeah, definitely a concerning matter if you are a Josh Allen fantasy manager, as your boy over here is.
yeah, that is tough. Maybe. I mean, yeah, Justin Fields is already at it, I'm sure. Sorry.
It's a super flex league. I'm toast. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Kyler Murray is my other quarterback, so it's not like
Okay.
it's like okay. And
Okay.
my third quarterback is Deshaun Watson, purely only
Oh,
because
there it is. There you
he
go.
returned.
You
He
know.
returns in week 13, which coincides with Kyler Murray's bye. So it was kind of just made sense for me to add him because he was just sitting there on waivers, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I was like, play Zach Wilson against I forget what the matchup was against Minnesota or something, or do I pick up Deshaun Watson and play him in his revenge game against Houston? So um, let's move on to talking about the rest of the quarterback swags and the quarterback four on the week. That would be Tua Tagovailoa, 24.0 or 24.1 fantasy points in standard quarterback scoring. Geno Smith, the quarterback, 5. Jalen Hurts, 6. Joe Burrow, 7. Kyler Murray, 8. Derek Carr, 9. Uh, Lamar
We
Jackson,
said it.
10.
We said it. We said it.
Lamar Jackson, 10. Trevor Lawrence comes in at 11. And Kirk Cousins, my quarterback start of the week, coming in as the quarterback, 12. Greg, any of these top 12 performances stick out to you?
No, a lot of definitely names that we usually see in here, except Derek Carr, of course. But when you don't need it is when he comes through. Uh, yeah, it was a good week. Kirk Cousins for sure coming through. Kirk Cousins after the game really was the best part. Honestly, the team playing's back on these for NFL has been crazy this year.
Oh, man. Yeah. Did you see the Justin Tucker one?
Oh yeah, of course. Oh man.
No,
Oh yeah, of course.
the one from yesterday.
Oh, another one? Oh no, I didn't see that one. Oh man.
Yeah, it was good. He basically rhymed uh and then ended up with finished smoking that Saints pack.
Yo, he's causing mass. I mean, he backs it up, man. He's the best kicker in the league.
Yeah,
Best
no,
kicker argument
definitely. He
ever.
he 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 was like, "Oh, every time last time you guys put me on here, I said something, I got in trouble. Like now, what do you want me to say?" And then he goes on and then says that, and then that was the end. It was hilarious. Um, all right, let's move on. The quarterback Jags. There's no honorable mention, so we're just gonna go straight to the Jags.
Yeah.
Starting with start of the week. Not a great performance by him. It's kind of tough when you don't have your top receivers there. Um, what do you think overall the performance by Justin Herbert?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a disappointing one, especially with he didn't have his top two guys, but I think the matchup definitely was good enough to get some points, at least in the top 12. Um, yeah, hopefully he can kind of have a strong end to the season. It's been a very, very quiet season. It hasn't been a total bust. I mean, he's had some solid weeks, but definitely not been the league winner type quarterback you expected this year.
Yeah, it's definitely been tough, and I think that team just in general, like they almost lost that game. Like
Oh,
if
they
not,
almost lose every game. Yeah,
yeah,
it's the
they almost
Chargers.
lose every game. But
Yeah.
but like for them to almost lose, for them to lose to win that game in the fashion that they did, right? Like they had a fumble recovery of Austin Eckler fumbles and defenders running down the sideline, and then he proceeds to fumble, and then the Chargers get the ball back and essentially drive down, kick a field goal, and game's over. Um, Aaron Rodgers, man, like is like
Oh,
couldn't
I
get it
mean,
done in this one. Like,
it was
is he
over, man.
toast?
It was over like 5 weeks ago, yo. It was over. The moment I don't know, like Devontae Adams not there. That's really I don't know how
But
he's
this
still
was
rostered in
Detroit.
like over. Yeah, this is Detroit. He's over. He's still rostered in like a lot of leagues, like 80% over. I think over 8%. Um, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no. And then Marcus Mariota, he was my stream of the week, face planted. But I think I'll blame that one on your start of the week. No, I can't even blame it on your start of the week because even so, like Marcus Mariota, should have got it done with his legs, and that was
Yeah,
part of the reason there. But when this game, which had the second highest total on the week set for by Vegas, and it ends up, I think we end up with like 34 total points, or sorry, 37 total points. Just can't extract a lot of fantasy value out of that. Greg, any other guys that you want to talk about that maybe let us down this week that were just the guys?
nah, I think that was about it. Definitely a low scoring week after those top 12.
Yeah, let's move on to these running back swags, man. And so the running back one on the week, Sergio Mixon, 22
Joe
carries,
Mix.
153 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, added
Oh,
4 receptions for
yeah, word.
58 receiving yards, and a fifth touchdown. Lord help you if you had to play Joe Mixon. 55.1 PPR points is what you got put on you. Uh, I mean, I know we've been talking about touchdown regression for Joe Mixon for weeks now.
He has to
And
make up. He has to just catch up real quick.
it doesn't work like that, but in this game it did. And it was, I mean, I've been trying to buy Joe Mixon for
Yeah,
weeks, and so for this game to happen, pretty much closes that buy opportunity. But Greg, your thoughts on a performance here by Joe Mixon?
yeah, Joe Mix, man, getting those touchdowns. Like we thought he'd get throughout the year more balance wise, but it's glad that he got this week here because there's probably a very slim chance that you lost with this week if you had him on your team. He's got 6 and now in the last 3 weeks too, so definitely looking good. I mean, matchup against the Steelers next week as well. Definitely another good matchup.
Yeah, Steelers defense might have your boy TJ Watt back, but um,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Oh, I'm
I,
excited to hear that. For
yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna help you
Yeah,
out in dynasty league in our
dynasty for
dynasty
sure.
league for sure. But it also
Yeah,
makes the Pittsburgh Steelers an
that's true.
intriguing value
Yeah.
in defense, right? Like, I have the Jets in one of my leagues, and they're on bye this week. Um, and so I picked up Kansas City for their game against Tennessee and played them, and they have a matchup against Jacksonville. Also picked up New Orleans, who plays Pittsburgh. But I was looking, and Pittsburgh was on bye, so you know how you could pick them up before like the games start. And I was like, Pittsburgh against New Orleans might not be a bad matchup if TJ Watt is playing. So, um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So if you are out there and Pittsburgh is available, definitely give them a look as we track this TJ Watt news. But uh, yeah, Joe Mixon, fantastic performance for sure. Um, what about this next guy, man? Like, I wish I had more shares of him right now. Kenneth Walker the third,
Hmm.
26 carries, 109 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Also added 4 targets, 3 receptions, 20 receiving yards, 27.9 PPR points on the week. This dude is a touchdown machine. He's
Hmm.
getting volume. And when he runs the football, like he's always creating yards, right? Like I always say there's a difference between, ball carriers and like running backs, like people that truly like they can create yards, make something out of nothing. You give an opportunity to get 3 and they'll get you 7, right? And you give them an opportunity to get you 10, they'll get you 20, right? And like that's what Kenneth Walker is. He's truly special, man. What do you think of the performance by Kenneth Walker this week and just even up to this point?
Oh yeah, he's been also kind of league winning value. Definitely those guys that drafted him preseason and whoever got spent all the waiver they could on him, it was worth it. I mean, last 4 weeks he's got 6 touchdowns. Man's averaging 106 yards over the last 4 weeks. And he's doing this without even getting targets. I mean, and receptions. So definitely just eating on the ground game right now. So it's definitely good to see.
And this is a team that this is what they want to do, like at their
Yeah,
core, right? Like
getting
this isn't
20
like
carries.
and
Yeah,
they're a good football team. So they're gonna
yeah,
be in opportunities where he's gonna get this positive game script. 26 carries, like he's gonna get that. That's
yep,
repeatable, it's sustainable. And just the touchdown opportunities, right? Like when they get down there, they're they're not handing the ball to anybody else. It's kind of the
yeah.
Walker.
No, he's a matchup proof RB1 right now.
For sure. For definitely. I mean, we don't even know what his ceiling would look like in negative game script. I feel like it would be Travis Homer who ends up getting some opportunities, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like he would have to get involved that way for sure because he's one of their best players offensively. Let's move on to the running back 3 on the week, and this is another guy who balling right now for sure, man. Travis Etienne, 28 rush attempts, 109 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, almost an identical rushing stat line to Kenneth Walker there, but 2 targets on 2 receptions, or 2 receptions on 2 targets rather, for 17 receiving yards, 26.6 PPR points. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by ETN?
Yeah, he's also continuing to ball. Once both these guys, once they got that RB1 role, I've just taken it by storm. And yeah, it's good to see this from ETN, a guy we expected to do this last year, and he's just been fully unleashed. And he's definitely matchup proof as far as he's game script proof because it seems like he's gonna get this when the Jaguars are losing, and when they're winning. Like in the games before he was losing, he still was getting over 20 carries, over 15 carries. So he's definitely gonna be getting work on the ground.
Absolutely, man. Travis Etienne he's been absolutely balling. Again, another guy I wish I had more
Yeah,
shares of. It's
got
just
Kansas City
crazy
next
to
week.
me.
I'm about to
they
eat.
they were down 17-0, and my man still got 28 carries,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
by the
that's
way,
beautiful.
uh, the previous Raiders head coaches combined had had lost a total of 3 games when leading by 17 points. Josh McDaniels this season as the Raiders head coach has given up a 17-point lead
Three
3
times already.
times.
It's not even week 10.
Oh my.
I
Like
mean,
I know I spoke on it last week, but I woke up on Monday with the expectation that I was going to check Twitter and Josh McDaniels was going to get fired. And then we get Frank Reich, who
yeah,
gets
Frank
fired
Reich.
and
Yeah,
replaced
yeah,
by
yeah,
Jeff
yeah.
Saturday. Like,
Oh man, crazy.
uh,
Yeah, man. We thought Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes will miss each other, like Devontae and Aaron Rodgers. That's like they just need to come back.
oh yeah.
They
We'll, we'll talk
can
about
reverse trades, hopefully.
we'll talk about Devontae. We'll talk about Devontae in a little bit. Don't want to spend too much time talking about it here. But we just got to round out these running backs. Travis Etienne coming in Kenyon Drake coming in at 4, Austin Eckler 5, Derrick Henry 6, Cordero Patterson 7, Jeff Wilson Jr. 8, Ramondre Stevenson, my running back start of the week, comes in at 9.
Mm-hmm.
Carter comes at 10, Miles Sanders 11, tied with Raheem Blackshear for 11 as well. And then Damian Pierce. Oh, I guess he comes in at 13, so it doesn't really count as running back 12. But Greg, your thoughts here on these top 12 performances?
Yeah, some great names here. Could see Michael Carter in there. Damian Pierce, Ramondre Stevenson, Cordell Patterson. Healthy Cordell Patterson is a RB1. It's great to see. And yeah, Jeff Wilson Jr. man, back from the dead, yes sir.
Yo, how about Cordero Patterson just truck sticking a dude? I don't know if you saw that on his second touchdown.
Nah, yo,
He trucked the dude at the goal line. And I had to remind myself, I'm like, yo, that is a former wide receiver that just truck sticked a linebacker in like at the goal line. Like, yeah, it was
yeah,
he's
he's
fantastic.
built definitely,
Just remember on the show,
absolutely.
I was trying to push the Cordero Patterson running back narrative when he was in Chicago playing for Matt Nagy. I was trying to push it. Really was. I think Bill
They
Belichick was
wasn't
a
hearing you,
visionary.
man.
You said
Facts.
what?
Yeah, they wasn't hearing you, yo. Yeah, Bill Belichick saved his career pretty much.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, I mean, outside of the Kenyon Drake, man. I mean, that one, like, you got to be sick if you're the Gus Edwards manager. You're just sitting there like, oh man, that could have been
Oh,
all
well,
Kenyon
I
Drake's
added
fantasy.
Kenyon Drake.
Did you
Drake
have
was able to play him too.
you have him in our league in League of Extraordinary People?
Yeah.
Oh
Because I
my
had
god,
Gus,
that
so
makes
I
me
added
sick
Kenyon
to my
Drake.
stomach
Yeah.
because I had Kenyon Drake, but I dropped him right before that Thursday night game because I needed to make it. I was
Oh,
like, I got to make another transaction. I was like, Gus Edwards pretty much took that job. So I
yeah,
dropped Kenyon Drake, and then Gus Edwards gets hurt, and I was like, oh
yeah,
man. And then I never got him back. So
yeah.
now
No, no.
I'm here rostering Cam Akers, who cost me nothing.
Ooh.
So
Yeah, whoever the RB1 of Baltimore is, they're gonna be definitely giving some value every week.
for sure, definitely. Some honorable mentions. Tyler Algier, also of Atlanta, had a really good day, 99 rushing yards on 10 attempts. James Robinson, he also had a good day, running for the Jets. Actually had more opportunities, two more opportunities in this game than Michael Carter did. And then James Conner played on 72% of the snaps. You had that one right. You said you would play James Conner. I was still on the Benjamin hype. But James Conner got the touches. He played the snaps. Any other thoughts on these honorable mentions or anybody that I may have missed, Greg?
No, I think you summed it up pretty well. Yeah.
And now we got to talk about the Jags. And it was a bad week because there was a bye week, right? So like you're like, all right, well, it's gonna be bad. We had 6 teams on bye, like it's gonna be bad. But then some of these names, man, like DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones, who was your start of the week, Raheem Mostert, Deion Jackson, Deontay Foreman, any Chiefs running back, any Bears running back, like all of these guys just disappointed. Greg, is there any of these guys? Aaron Jones suffered an ankle injury, so obviously there's concerns of his own. DeAndre Swift, Raheem Mostert, like these guys, are you concerned about their value going forward?
Well, yeah, I'm concerned about the whole Packers offense, but that's like I guess a whole season thing. I mean, but Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon, it's gonna be the safest of that offense, I guess. DeAndre Swift though, definitely a little concerning. I mean, this year, if you did take Jamal Williams, like he's been the better fantasy running back this year as far as like just being out there and availability and just playing getting carries and stuff. Yeah, so I'm a little concerned about Swift.
Yeah, I mean it's tough because Swift got those opportunities in week 1,
Yeah.
and we saw what he did with them. But then he got injured and hasn't really had those opportunities again.
Yeah, unless he's still hurt. I don't know.
No, I mean he clearly is, and they talked about
Yeah.
that. They talked about that last week. Coming out of last week, Dan Campbell said he wishes that he gave him that he gave him less work, and so they kind of intimated that he would get less work this week, which he did. But Dan Campbell then said today that they want to get him a little bit more work than they did last week. So we're going to take Dan Campbell at face value. He has not lied to us yet. So, like, he told us last week, hey, you know what? He's not really healthy. He hasn't, they haven't really, made a case to say that he's not healthy and when he was, or the vice versa of that. So, if they're going out there saying, hey, we want to get him a little bit more work this week, I'm going to trust Dan Campbell in that. And to be honest, DeAndre Swift is such a good player. Like, he has to be in your lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not a bench candidate yet.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing that could happen with Swift right now is that he gets injured again, and at
Yeah,
that point, like you just know not to play him, right? Or you put him
yeah,
in your IR spot or whatever it is. Knock on wood, I don't want that to happen. But Jamal Williams, like you said, I mean, his value has been there. It's always been there. It'll continue to be there, even when Swift does get to that point that he is healthy, or if he does get to that point that he is healthy. Um, Jamal Williams will always have those opportunities for those touchdowns. We know that. We understand that. So yes, he's definitely has a role. Um, what about the Chiefs backfield? Like, do you just chalk that up to game script yesterday? You know, Clyde Edwards-Helaire played his season low in snaps, 17%. Uh, are you
yeah. I was
are you?
never really big on the Chiefs backfield to begin with. Yeah, it's tough, especially if they're down, they already are a heavy throwing team. They're gonna just continue to throw more. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I can't see. Maybe I still think Pacheco has the highest upside if there's any. So I think he's probably the only guy I would be willing to like stash. Because I mean, you're not. It's hard to start Cloud at this point. So there's no really. And McKinnon is just like a desperation. Like you need someone to throw in there for bye weeks and stuff, like flex possibly.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to continue to roster Clyde because if there's an injury in this backfield, it goes from a 3-man committee to a 2-man committee,
Yeah,
and that increases some of the value. And like you want to have a piece of this offense, right? Like, and we saw what Clyde was able to do in the beginning of the year. And Pacheco, like you said, I think he has the highest upside. I think that he'll continue to see the most work. I think the game script did not allow for them to be able to establish any sort of run game. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm with you in terms of like you can't start these guys. They're more of like bench assets and kind of wait and see if one of these if especially Pacheco grows into a role or maybe there's
Yeah.
an injury of some sort that you can that increases one of these guys' value. But I think that's about it. Anybody else that you want to discuss that may have let us down yesterday, Greg? We touched on
No.
Deion Jackson, Deontay Foreman, but no
Yeah.
concerns there. Um, let's talk about the wide receiver swags, and now we're going to talk about Devontae Adams because
Sure.
yesterday, or not yesterday, Sunday, you watching Devontae Adams do his thing, and you're like, oh wow, Devontae Adams he's gotten it done, he's getting it done, and then you flip over to red zone and you're watching Aaron Rodgers, and you're like, he ain't really doing it right, like, and obviously there was a lot of things at play, and there's a lot of things at play with Aaron Rodgers, but like there's not a receiver on the Packers that is at the level of a Devontae Adams.
Not even
Um,
close.
not even close. And so but Devontae, all he really needs is volume, right? Like, and he got it in this game: 17 targets, 10 receptions,
Hmm.
146 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, 36.6 PPR points. I mean, he got it done.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We
and
were
he,
saying like it's got to be the week he gets it done to kind of keep that wide receiver one status, and he did.
yeah, for sure. Devontae Adams is absolute beast, and he clearly has not gotten worse, right? I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is bad, he's terrible, whatever, right? He's just not the Hall of Famer that we have. Like, I mean, I know I like Aaron Rodgers is one of the first quarterbacks I've seen his entire career, right? Like I followed it from the draft
Hmm.
through like where he is today. Um, I remember when he ascended in 2000 it was 2009 when or 2009 2010 when he was like taking that next step to being like one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. And so um, yeah, it's tough to see because this game makes everybody mortal eventually. And Aaron Rodgers, he's still a good quarterback. He's still a great quarterback, but he's just not at the level where he can elevate these guys around him that don't have the talent level that maybe a guy like a Devontae Adams has.
Yeah, you need at least like one or two things of like usually you need either O line or receivers, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't have either, so it's gonna be rough to overcome.
Yeah, for sure. All right, enough about Devontae Adams, old quarterback. Let's talk about another wide receiver who switched quarterbacks this year, and he's
Woo.
doing without a hitch,
Gonna
man.
break that
Tyreek
record,
Hill
man.
definitely on pace to break that record. 8 targets, 7 receptions, 143 receiving yards, 1 touchdown reception, 27.3 PPR points. Greg, your thoughts?
Yeah, I expect this every game. I mean, this man is a yardage monster right now. He's a touchdown monster. It's just hard for it to cover him, and it just makes it better because you got Waddle out there, and it's hard to double him. So it just makes his life easier. You should continue to see this every week.
Yeah, Tyreek's a freak, man. Yeah, I would love to see him get that record. I
Yeah.
was wanted to see Cooper Kupp get it last year. I wanted to see, Calvin Johnson get it a few years ago, prior. So, it would definitely be awesome to see Tyreek Hill get that record. But moving on to the wide receiver 3 on the week, bum ankle and all. Cooper Kupp, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 127 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Also added 3 rush attempts for 1 yard, 26.8 PPR points. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, he's just so safe for a volatile position like the wide receiver position. He's insanely safe. So it just gives him a boost that he can do that on a team that on the offense has been pitiful this year. Yeah, man, Cooper Kupp's been absolutely money.
Yeah, he's been money. Kind of what I've been hoping Justin Jefferson would be every week, but just give Cooper Kupp his. I'm sorry, man. I'm just a little bitter,
I
a little
see.
bitter, a little.
Yo, just Jefferson's right there. You're right
No, he's
there.
balling. He's balling. Justin
Yeah,
Jefferson's balling. But I thought we were getting week to week
20-point
consistency
games. Yeah, yeah.
every week, which is why I was willing to take him number 3 overall over the guy that we talk about in the top 3 every week in Cooper Kupp, which is why it makes me angry. But
Yeah,
anyway, Cooper
yeah.
Kupp balling. I mean, that play he made, that deep touchdown that he caught, looked almost just like the one in the playoffs last year,
Mhm.
to set them up in field goal range. Yeah, it was just a great performance by one of the best receivers in all of football. Moving on to the rest of the wide receiver position, the guy who I was just going on a rant about, who finished with 1.3 less fantasy points than Cooper Kupp, that would be Justin Jefferson. Uh, Christian Kirk comes in at 5. Mecole Hardman comes in at 6. Jalen Waddle 7. Juju Smith-Schuster 8. Allen Lazard 9. Joshua Palmer 10. Garrett Wilson, my wide receiver start of the week, coming in at 11. Tyler Lockett coming in as the wide receiver 12. Greg, your thoughts on the performances here by these top 12 wide receivers?
Yeah, a lot of nice names in here. I mean, Waddle, of course, him and Hill been wide receiver ones all year. Good to see McCall Harmon. Last couple weeks been pretty hot, so that's good to see that. And Joshua Palmer, definitely finally seeing that breakout game. About time, without Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, could be a thing next week as well that they're also out. So it'd be good to continue to play him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Jalen Waddle, again, we've been talking about it. I've been speaking to it. Like, as he gets healthier, I think these games are gonna start coming more often, more frequently, like they were in the beginning of the year. Mecole Hardman, I mean, he's a guy that we feel like been chasing his fantasy points for years now,
Forever.
and last week he got it done with I believe it was 2 rushing touchdowns, and so you're kind of like, that's not, you can't really repeat that, right? But then he comes out here again, 9 targets, 79 receiving yards, and a tutty. So like, maybe he's a part of the offense now, right? Like, and so something to definitely monitor. And then my wide receiver start of the week, Garrett Wilson, who, I thought that he looks like the real deal. I said it, all
Mhm.
pre-draft. I said it since last year. Um, this going into this week, he was going to be the top target. And on a day where Zach Wilson throws, I think, 25 pass attempts, Garrett Wilson sees 9 targets. And it got to the point where, because he didn't catch another ball, I don't think, until he didn't catch another ball all fourth quarter and like halfway through the third quarter. And at one point, the Bills had 2 people on Garrett Wilson with a safety over the top. So they had 3 people accounting for a rookie in his 9th NFL game. I made the comparison to Justin Jefferson. I'm not saying that he's going to be that level of superstar or talent, but the skill set, the ability to line up inside, outside, make plays after the catch, play bigger than your actual frame. Yeah, I mean, Garrett Wilson's a stud.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson's a stud. Definitely. Like it does help when there is no one else that you have to cover too on the Jets as well, though.
I mean, does it? That makes it worse. Like,
No,
there's
but
no one else.
you can just put everyone on Garrett Wilson. There you
Yeah,
go.
you just put everyone
Yeah.
on Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Because there's no
So
one
wait.
else. Because there's no one else that you have to worry about. I'm saying as well.
Well, that's because Elijah Moore's still on punishment. He played 49% of the snaps this week. So
There we go. There we go.
Improvement, which just makes me even more upset. Again, I can go on a whole rant. Like, imagine you're Elijah Moore and there's 3 people on one side covering Garrett Wilson. Like, wouldn't you want to be on the backside of that? Like, but I don't know. Whatever. Denzel Mims season. Darnell Mooney, I think he's been, obviously, as Fields has gotten better. Mooney's definitely, ascended with him. Coming in as a wide receiver 13. He's had some really good weeks, back-to-back weeks. He's a solid wide receiver 2 at this point. I'd say the same for Rondale Moore, who's clearly involved in this offense. He's a part of this offense now, and I think after they finally moved him to the slot where he excels. We're seeing this fantasy value add up. And then your boy, man, I asked you, is there a wide receiver out here that's gonna help me, man? Last week, and you said Terrace Marshall. I mean, he's available, he's got talent, he's the number 2 receiver now with DJ Moore, and he comes in wide receiver 19 week.
There we go. Yeah, man, I got him on it again because he's still, the percentage is still very low. I think, in the offense where they clearly want to throw the ball, they're going to be behind, and they got solid matchups. Can't always throw to DJ Moore every play. So Terrace Marshall, definitely a prospect. We've been talking about coming into the draft. So got a lot of talent.
No, definitely. I mean, I'd have to go back and look, but I believe coming into that class, because this was last year's class, I believe he was like my wide receiver 6 or 7 from a dynasty perspective. So very high on the talent of Terrace Marshall. I just played on that talented LSU team with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. I think that there's definitely an opportunity here, going forward, like you said, for Terrace Marshall, because again, like DJ Moore is probably getting double, triple coverage, and somebody's going to be on the back of that, and Terrace Marshall is probably going to be that dude. Anybody else you want to shout out, Greg, from an honorable mentions perspective? Curtis Samuel got back.
No, I think that's it. Definitely good performance from Curtis Samuel. AJ Brown, I like the Rondale Moore mention for sure, because we thought it was a little scary when D-Hop got back, but glad to see he's involved still.
Yeah, for sure. Let's move on to these wide receiver Jags, man. And it was a rough week. Jacoby Myers, just when I'm talking about matchup proof, I guess the other team has to actually show up to play football, though, for that to happen for the Patriots, because they really just want to shove Ramondre Stevenson down your throat and say, take it, and you're going to like
it. As they should, yes. So that one-handed catch, Ramondre is nice.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like we were saying last week, there's not a lot of people walking the face of this planet that are 6 foot like him, 240 like him, and can do things on a football field like him. Not a lot of people.
Beautiful.
Yeah, well, we're talking about. Oh yeah, because we're talking. I was like, how are we talking about wide receivers? We're talking about Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
Only we could do that. Michael Pittman Jr. in the same game. Are you concerned, Greg? I know this was your breakout wide receiver. No, he was not your breakout. He was your my guy.
My guy. Yeah. Definitely some concern just because the offense isn't good right now. They can't run the ball, they can't pass the ball, so they can't move the ball in general. Hey, maybe Jeff Saturday can lift these guys up, you know.
Maybe he'll go out there
We'll
and play
see.
some center.
We'll see. Hey, first player coach, I'm with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is going to come back soon. I think
Oh man,
Jeff
don't bring that man.
don't bring that man. I think Jeff Saturday is going to do a commitment. He's going to make a commitment to the run game.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, he's offensive lineman. It just feels like
Yeah.
that's what he's going to say. We need to run the ball more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But who knows? He's like best friends with Peyton, so maybe he'll be like, Peyton, like, what do I got to do? Like, help me fix this.
Facts. That's what I'm saying. I don't know why they just didn't call Peyton. Like, he let him be the.
Bro, Peyton probably doesn't want to do it. My man is chilling right now. He's got the best,
making millions of dollars, just making jokes on football.
Yeah, like Peyton's chilling right now. Plus, like Peyton would he'd probably go to every quarterback. I'm like, just Sam, just give me the ball. Just give me the football. Like, you can't do this. Like, can't you tell it's cover 6? It's cover 6. How do you not understand this? Yeah, so I think Michael Pittman Jr. should turn this around for sure. He's talented. I'm hoping, that this is a little bit of like seeking rational coaching here, but they hired a new play caller today. He's 30 years old. Was the assistant quarterback coach. So that's who they went with. So I'm somewhat hoping that this guy is like, hey, I'm going to lean on these good football players I have.
I would hope so.
Because he's auditioning for not just the Colts offensive coordinator job, but for jobs all across the NFL. So Khalif Raymond, he's a guy that we brought up. I know I was pounding the table for him.
Yeah, same.
Didn't show up. Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of ends up on this list. It was like the reason I say that is because the production wasn't great, but the targets were there, and obviously the game script, the nature of the game script didn't really lead to, and the matchup wasn't great too, but the nature of the game script didn't really lead to one that would have been very productive for fantasy. Mike Evans, your start of the week. I don't know, man. Tampa Bay won, but I don't know.
Yeah, man.
And then Devontae Smith, who played on Thursday night. Obviously, he's skinny Batman, so his fantasy production is going to be skinny sometimes too. Greg, any thoughts on these Jags here, or anybody that I might have left out that might have caused you some extra pain?
No, I think those are the ones that caused me some real pain right there for sure. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the tight end position and the tight end swags, the number one tight end on the week. I think I'm gonna just take the applause for this. I feel like I should, because I said he was gonna be the tight end one, and he did it. So now I couldn't make him my start of the week because he played on Thursday. But yeah, and we got the 60 plus receiving yards. Actually crushed it. Got 100. But the line was like 49.5 or something like that. But yeah, 8 receptions, 9 targets, 100 receiving yards and a touchdown, 24 PPR points. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Dallas Goedert?
Yeah, not surprising here. He's a stud of a tight end right now. One of the best value picks at tight end because you weren't taking them in at that top 2 or 3 people, and then you were getting him a little, I guess, later in the draft. So he's been coming through very money.
Yeah, he was a guy that when you looked at that cluster of tight ends that he was in with the Dalton Schultz and
Yeah.
there's one more name I feel like I'm missing. Oh, Dawson
Uh,
Knox's of the world,
yeah.
right? Who was
Yeah.
going in that range? Like he clearly had the most upside to me, right? He had 800 receiving yards last year, on not a lot of catches. And when you look at the situation on offense, AJ Brown was coming in. That's going to open up a ton of space in the middle of the field for a guy like Dallas Goedert. Um, you know, I feel bad because I didn't even have him ranked that highly, in terms of my rankings. But yeah, he's been one of the best values. I'm in an auction league where I was able to get him, and I made sure I secured him early when he went out on his, his bid was placed. I was like, oh, I got to get Dallas Goedert because like if I'm gonna get a tight end, like I want this guy, and it's honestly been really awesome to have him every week because he's been really
Yep.
solid. So
Yep.
moving on to the tight end 2 on the week, and Greg, you will get a round of applause for this one.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, Miami defense, man. That tight end
Uh,
defense is trash.
Cole Kmet, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 41 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns, 22 PPR points. Greg, you clearly saw this one coming, so speak to it, my brother.
Yeah, it was definitely his best performance of the season, his breakout for the year, game. I think I'm definitely going to talk about him a little more as well. I think he's got a solid matchup next week as well. I think for the next 2 weeks, I gotta check it again. But yeah, Cole Kmet, especially being tied to Justin Fields now, he's trending up. So I think the receivers, Darnell Mooney was in there as well. So I think his targets are gonna start popping up more.
Nice, man, nice. Yeah, obviously I was a believer in Cole Kmet, and before the season and the offense, I mean, we were getting 0 target games for Cole Kmet, 1 target games for Cole Kmet. Just
Yeah,
it didn't
it was
seem
rough.
worth it. But if he's gonna get 6 targets like this, then I think that's definitely, you know, repeatable and something that we can bank on as we move forward. The tight end 3 on the week, guaranteed to be top 3 pretty much every week.
Yes,
Travis
sir.
Kelce, 17 targets, 10 receptions, 106 receiving yards, 20.6 PPR points. Uh, threw his helmet down at one point because he was so angry because he did not play, a great game. I mean, the Titans were trying to do everything they could to stop him, and it was working for a lot of it. But there was just some plays where Kelsey dropped the football and just uncharacteristic plays of Travis Kelce. But overall, the fantasy stat line looks great. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Travis Kelce?
Yeah, this is usual. This is what he does. Good to see him in here. Very reliable this year, as he always is, man. Age is Father Time has not gotten Travis Kelce yet, for sure.
No, definitely has not. Um, Rounding out these tight end swags though, but before we do that, we usually do this first. The touchdown or nah tight end of the week is our guy over here, James Mitchell out of Detroit, finished as the tight end 12, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 8 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown. Good for the tight end 12 on the week. So James Mitchell, one of the, I guess, many tight ends that will go on to try to replace TJ Hawkinson. But rounding out this top 12, Cade Otton comes in at 4. TJ Hawkinson comes in as a tight end 5.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Ertz 6. Noah Fant 7. Oh, I'll take that one.
Mm-hmm.
Tight end screen of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Jawan Johnson 8. Isaiah Likely coming in at 9, Josiah DeGuara coming in at 10, Hunter Henry 11, and then the aforementioned tight end, touchdown or not, tight end of the week, James Mitchell coming in at 12. Greg, your thoughts on these top 12 performances, and do any of them stick out? I heard you on humming, so there's definitely one I know stuck out to you before, but
Oh, I mean, love to see TJ Hawk, in the top 12 for sure, top 5. Um, be good to, get his kind of like hopefully Dallas Goddard level, performances, every week. It's kind of what we want to expect. And yeah, as long as we got Isaiah Lockley with a top 12 performance, he definitely. I think Lamar missed him on another touchdown. It could have been for sure. So he
and
could have had a
Likely
bigger
dropped
day.
like 3 passes.
Yeah,
Those
so
2 passes.
definitely definitely could have had a bigger day for sure.
Yeah, which is definitely frustrating. 5 targets, 1 reception, 24 receiving yards, and a touchdown. So if you started him, it was great. It worked out for you. But if not, if not, I definitely could have been a bigger day. So it sucks if you needed some of those fantasy points and lost because of it. But
Yeah,
no Fant just proving that Arizona is one to attack
always for the last 3 years.
for like 3 years now. They tricked us, man. There was a period where I was like, I don't know, maybe Arizona might be good again, but then now they just at the tight end now. Yeah, I agree with your points on TJ Hawkinson. I mean, this stat line is just so uncharacteristic of TJ Hawkinson. Like 9 targets, 9 receptions, 70 receiving yards. That's a great stat line there, and something that you feel could be sustainable as we move forward, because this is an offense that utilizes the tight end, which is, I think, been I talk on here a lot, like, and I would always talk negatively about TJ Hawkinson, but I was never really mad at TJ Hawkinson the player. It was more of just like the fantasy asset because of how unpredictable his usage is. Right, like you don't know. It's like it almost felt like Tyler Higbee with a higher ceiling. Right, like it's like super frustrating because you might get 3 points, but you might get 30. And it's like at one point, but but the 30s are so few and far between from the threes that it's like, is it even worth it half the time? But this, I think, is definitely sustainable.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Jags at the tight end position. And just when you thought he was back, but I will say, right, if you watch this game, Kyle Pitts had, I don't know, like 40 something. No, it wasn't 40 something receiving yards, but he had like very little receiving yards, but he had like over 200 air yards or something ridiculous like that. They were just throwing bombs to him down the field that they were just not converting. He had 27 receiving yards, but he had an opportunity for like a lot more than that if they could convert. So to me, that is something I'm willing to bet on. I don't know about you, Greg, and how you feel about the situation.
It's tough. I think he's kind of just. I think we have to treat him like I was more of a boom or bust tight end right now, which is um, just fine. I mean, I think it's better than how he started the season. So, uh, it's good to see him as that. It just depends on if the offense goes, then he can he's gonna go as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, if they just hit on one of those deep shots and they
Yeah.
had him lined up as a wide receiver, running double moves, trying to get him down the field, utilizing him as a deep threat. And if he just hits on one of those, right? Like we're talking about like a three catch, like 70-yard, 80-yard day here for Kyle Pitts. So
Yeah, I'm hoping maybe. I mean, I guess the whole full season hope is that Desmond Ritter comes in and just unleashes Kyle Pitts.
yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen because someone has to unleash Arthur Smith. Someone has to let Arthur Smith know that it's okay to throw the football, right? Like, hey, bro, like it's 2022. The forward pass is legal now. Like, you know that, right? Like, you don't get, there's no cap on how many times you can do it in a game. Like you can call it, right? Like you can call the forward pass as many times as you'd like. So until that changes, like I don't think it's gonna change.
Yeah, now he's got Cordell back. Yeah, nah.
Oh yeah, no. Oh,
Yeah.
guys, we can throw the football to Cordero.
Oh.
Oh man. Yeah, Tyler Conklin. That one I will once again blame on game script.
Evan Ingram too.
Oh yeah, my start of the week, Evan Ingram. He was actually the first name on the list, but I went straight to Kyle Pitts because I felt like he was
That's
interesting.
fair. Yeah, he's the most popular tight end to talk about every week, honestly.
Yeah. But Evan Ingram, my start of the week, which was weird because you see the game 17-0 and you're like, all right, like this is good. And then they come back and I checked, I was like, what happened to Evan Ingram, right? So definitely a tough one. Tyler Conklin, I talked about the game script being, negative game script would potentially help him here again. They didn't get that. The Jets, won this game. So yeah, that definitely didn't help. And then Taysom Hill, the emergency glass.
Yeah, the emergency glass didn't work. Yeah, that's definitely the jag for sure.
That's terrible. Imagine your emergency. You go to like get a fire extinguisher for the emergency glass, and then it don't work. Like,
oh, you're dead.
So basically, if you start Taysom Hill and it doesn't work out, then you're dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Your last hope for sure.
Unless
you listen to us, got Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you Cole Kmet, Noah Fant, just don't start Evan Ingram. And who is your tight end start of the week, Greg?
Oh, Jared Everett. He did all right.
Yeah, he was the tight end 13. So he was okay unless you played against Isaiah Likely, Noah Fant, Zach Ertz. James Mitchell, though, would have outscored Gerald Everett.
No one's playing him, though, so.
No one is playing James Mitchell, but I have to talk
yeah.
about him because he's on this list. So,
maybe the Hawkinson order, or not the Hawkinson order, I guess. So just someone needed tight end. They were like, let me get the Detroit tight end.
Yeah, George Kittle.
Yeah.
Oh, George Kittle was on. So wait, you're saying the George Kittle manager just went and picked up James Mitchell? Like somebody played him in DFS.
Somebody.
But they probably played like the wrong tight end. I've never heard of James Mitchell until today when I was putting his name on my list.
Oh man.
All right, we did have a question. T. Neil Forrest asked, "What's up, fellas? Quick question. Pick 3: D Hop, Gabe Davis, Josh Palmer, Ayuk, George Pickens, or Rondell Moore for the week or for the rest of the season." I'm gonna assume it's for the week. The Cardinals play. Who do the Cardinals play?
Not sure. D-Hop for sure, though. It doesn't matter. Week or season.
Yeah, no, D-Hop you have to play.
Yeah, you're playing D-Hop.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Gabe Davis, I'm probably not going to touch. But like if Josh Allen's limited in any way, I think that's going to kill Gabe Davis's upside because his game is the deep ball. I was asking who the Cardinals play mainly because of Rondell Moore, and they play the Rams. So yeah, I feel like I lean Rondell Moore. San Fran plays
Ayuk Palmer.
So yeah, they play those two teams play each other.
There'll probably no Allen, no
Allen, no Mike Williams again. I'm leaning Ayuk.
I'm trying to see if it's a trend that McCaffrey's impact on.
But
the other
Ayuk had a great game last week. I mean, Deebo Samuel was out.
Yeah.
And he did return to practice this week with the hamstring coming off the bye. So, yeah, I mean, I think that one's a toss-up. I haven't done too much work this week, not yet, in regards to matchups and things like that. So, I could definitely give you more insight later in the week. But my initial reaction based on this would be D Hop, Rondell Moore, and Ayuk, and I guess Greg is D Hop, Rondell Moore, and Josh Palmer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. But George Pickens, rookie after the bye week. Just gotta say it. I gotta say it. There's a rookie coming out of the bye. I gotta say it. So in terms of injuries, quarterback Josh Allen, again, he's going to be further evaluated for that elbow injury. Green Bay wide receiver Romeo Dobbs is dealing with a high ankle sprain. Green Bay running back Aaron Jones, his test results for his ankle came back negative, but he's dealing with an ankle injury. So make sure you are, have AJ Dillon stashed, ready to go. And then edge, rough day for the Packers. Edge, Rashawn Gary, expected to miss the rest of the season with a torn ACL. So definitely a blow to that Packers defense. Greg, how does in terms of waivers, what do we have here? Is there anybody at the quarterback position? We have the Jets, the Baltimore Ravens, the New England Patriots, and the Cincinnati Bengals all on bye this week. So that's 2 startable fantasy quarterbacks there. Who are we looking to pick up this week
It's
to help
it's
us
it's
out?
really rough this week for sure. I'm definitely looking first at Jared Goff. He's 49% rostered. He's going to be playing Chicago next week. Chicago's been a very good matchup for quarterbacks. You just saw Tua light them up. You saw a lot of teams light them up this year, and they've been in some shootouts this year. So I think this is a matchup they could attack. And the only other one, super desperation play, PJ Walker. He's 6% rostered. Got Atlanta. Gonna go back to that wall going against the Atlanta matchup. Uh, you know, he did start up pretty badly. Baker came into relief of him. I'm still not very confident in this one. I think more focus on in getting Jared Goff and starting against Chicago.
Yeah, that's a rough week for quarterbacks.
Yeah, yeah. With all the buys, and then it's not like Taylor Heineke's haven't really impressed yet. A lot of other guys haven't really come through.
Yeah. Any thought about a Jacoby Brissett? Who do they play?
Going against Miami, I could be with that. I could be with that actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be willing to put him right there after Jared Goff. Yeah.
What about the running back position? It's got to be
Oh yeah,
worse. It's even
it's
worse
worse.
there.
I'm really just looking at more contingency plans right now. Kind of looking at that Chiefs backfield we talked about. Jeremy McKinnon, he's at 14%. Isaiah Pacheco, he's at 29% rostered. Yeah, a lot of the percentages. Every guys have gotten the people that are possible handcuff. People that can come in safety nets, or people that are already RB1s because all the other guys are either injured or just not producing. So McKinnon could be, upside. I think is more like a J.D. McKissick guy, and then Isaiah Pacheco has the most upside on the team. Barring an injury to one of these guys in the backfield, he's 29% rostered. So you see he's a little more highly valued as a guy that, barring any injury, I think can come through and be a possible RB2.
Yeah, and then another guy I'll add to that list, Chuba Hubbard. I don't know what his rostership is, but he's available in some leagues. Was injured the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's
Um,
at 32%.
yeah, so he's a guy that he's averaging like 6 yards a carry right now, and I read on Roto World that he hasn't even had a carry of 20 plus yards, so that obviously would boost his average a little bit. So he's been efficient as a runner, and at least it looked like at least the first game without Christian McCaffrey that Chuba Hubbard was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
guy
yes, sir.
before
Yeah,
exiting with that injury. So I would be willing to scoop him up and see what happens.
Yeah, if you need a guy right now, I mean, he's back at practice. You know about his status right away because they play Thursday. So the time to do it is now.
Yeah, no, you definitely got to add him. And we're going to discuss Thursday night football tomorrow. But he's a guy I feel like I know in some leagues I'm desperate this week with some of the bye weeks. Like I saw Chuba Hubbard, I got excited. So yeah, he's going. He might be going in my lineup because yeah. What about at wide receiver, Greg? Any luck there?
Yeah, Terrace Marshall Jr. 6% rostered. Got 6 targets. Saw 6 targets this week. Got a touchdown this week. And that's now a couple weeks in a row where he's been an intriguing play. There's definitely should be a must roster in deep leagues. And now you're starting to enter 12-team formats if you need a guy, maybe an emergency glass, or just a guy that could be involved and you see his upside. I think he has some upside going down the season. Could be one of those guys late in the season when you're in the playoffs that you're playing these random receivers, and Terrace Marshall Jr. could carry you.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely talented. The Carolina Panthers are a team. I mean, their defense looked great. They were my defensive stream, and it looked really great until Joe Mixon's 5 touchdowns. It looked great until basically the kickoff when the game started, and But if they continue, I mean, I don't know if that's more of a function of Cincinnati or if that's more a function of Carolina regressing as a defense. I know they've had a couple injuries. So, if their defense continues to play like that, then yeah, Terrace Marshall is going to have opportunities for sure. Greg, what about at tight end? I know it's definitely it's there. Yeah.
I mean, also I forgot to mention DeAndre Carter too. DeAndre Carter, he's also a name, 30%. Got 6 targets on the week. We
also
know
someone
that
I looked at.
Yeah. Josh Palmer and DeAndre Carter should be the only 2 receivers that Herbert's going to pass to, while Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are both out. But yeah, tight end, it's the guys we mentioned. The guys that we've been kind of talking about the last couple of weeks. Cole Kmet at 24% rostered. He's got Detroit this week, then Atlanta. So 2 really great matchups for both Justin Fields. The entire offense of the Bears it should be up the next 2 weeks. Cade Otton, 11% rostered. He got another 6 targets this week, caught 5 receptions. We talk about Cameron Brate being a prospect, but he's out. Cade Otton should fill in and then just be give you some borderline tight end 1 weeks possibly. And then Noah Fant, 10% rostered. He should continue to be a play on a good team. I think he's got some streaming value every week.
Sorry, what about our guy Greg Dulcich?
Oh yeah, I mean coming off the bye, yeah, is a guy that I mentioned 2 weeks ago, but yeah, now should be the time of mentioning him. Hopefully if he's there, add him.
He's got to be
he was the guy you added Sunday. Yeah, he's got to be the top guy.
I mean, I think we talked about it, right? Like
his roster should be over.
No, I would imagine it's high, but so with the bye weeks and stuff, I would imagine some people might have dropped him. But I was saying before they played in that London game. What is it low?
37, 37%.
Yeah. I was saying before that London game, like he's a player I'm willing to pick up, start, and hold through the bye week. Like I would do whatever I have to do to hold him through the bye week. So, if he's available in your league and you're hurting at tight end, you need a tight end, or you've been streaming, maybe you're the David Njoku manager and you need a guy to hold down the fort for you. Greg Dulcich, again, he's going to continue to be involved.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so that pretty much puts a wrap on this show this evening. Thank you everybody for tapping in with us and being flexible as back for our regular schedule tomorrow on Wednesday to break down Thursday night football. So make sure you tapped in, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. And just keep showing us support because we appreciate it. Have a good one, everybody. Enjoy your waivers, make some good decisions out there. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.
Yeah.